Welcome to my reading session, Three Men in a Boat by Jerome. Chapter 1, A Sick Man. The four of us were sitting in my room, George, William Samuel Harris, Montmorency and I.J. We smoked and spoke about how bad we were. Bad with respect to our medical conditions, of course. All of us were nervous talking about it, and Harris confessed that he experienced great fits of dizziness that appeared to cast a spell over him. George said he felt the same sometimes, and I did not even know what he was doing then. In my case, my liver was not in good working condition, and I knew this for a fact as I had just been studying a patient liver pill circular, which informed a man when his liver was not functioning properly. Unfortunately, I was blessed with all the symptoms. It might sound remarkable, of course, but I have never read a patient medicine advertisement without arriving at the conclusion that I am suffering from that particular disease in its most lethal form. The diagnosis seems to match perfectly and precisely with all the sensations that I have ever experienced. I recall making a trip to the British Museum once to read up on the treatment for some slight sickness that I had been affected with. I think it was hay fever. I acquired the book and sat down to read. After I had finished reading about what I needed to know, I turned the pages ideally. Then, in a momentary lapse of reason, I began to study diseases. Memory fails me as to which malady I dived into first, but I am positive it must have been some deadly, destructive affliction. But even before I had read this list of symptoms of that disease, I was sure I had got it. I sat horrified, as if turned to stone, and then turned the pages again in despair. I arrived at the page titled Typhoid Fever and read the symptoms carefully. Imagine my shock when I realized I had that too, and might have had it from months. Slowly and steadily as I read, I came to the conclusion that I was affected with St. Vitus dance, cholera, Bright's disease, and diphtheria. I read obsessively and alphabetically, and after I had toiled painstakingly right through the 26 letters, I discovered, much to my horror, that the only disease that I did not have was housemaid's knee. I was little hurt about this initially, as it seemed like a bit of an insult. Why I hadn't been blessed with housemaid's knee? Why this slighting reservation? After a while, however, sense prevailed over emotion when it dawned on me that I had every other illness that I was known to medical science. I was glad that housemaid's knee had decided to leave me alone. Gout, it appeared, had managed to take possession of me in its most fatal stage without my awareness, and apparently I had been a victim of zynosis right from boyhood. I was relieved that there were no ailments mentioned after zynosis, as this meant that there was nothing else that I could be affected with. I must be a fascinating case from the point of view of medical science. I sat and reflected as this new thought dominated my senses. I had been the prized acquisition of any medical class. Why, the students would never have the need to travel to hospitals if they had me. I was a hospital, an institution in myself. They just needed to take a walk around me and collect their diploma. Then I seriously thought about how long I had to live. but when I felt my pulse, I could not feel anything. Then suddenly it started off and I timed out with my watch. A147 to the minute. I tried feeling my heart, but I couldn't. It had stopped beating. Later, I arrived at the conclusion that it must have been there all the time and must have been beating. But it's just that I couldn't hear it. I patted myself from the waist right up to my head as if to examine other body parts. And I also felt my sides and whatever I could reach of my back. But I felt or heard nothing. I tried to take a look at my tongue, sticking it as far as I possibly could and examined one eye after shutting the other. Only the tip was visible, and I was certain that I had scarlet fever. I had walked into that room a happy, healthy man and exited it a broken down mess. I visited my doctor, who was also an old friend, and told him everything. He examined me and grabbed my wrist. Then he hit me on my chest when I was not expecting it. That was cowardly of him. He finally sat down and wrote a prescription. He gave it to me and I put it in my pocket without reading it. Then I went to the chemist and gave him the prescription, who said he did not have those. Are you a chemist? I asked. Yes, I am a chemist, he replied. I was a cooperative store and as well as a family hotel I would have served you, but being a chemist prevents me from doing so. I ran my eyes over the prescription then. 1 lb beef stick with 1 pint bitter beer every 6 hours. 10-mile walk every morning. Bed at 11 sharp every night. Don't fill your head with things you don't understand. I did as the prescription said, and the result is that my life was saved and I continue to grace this planet till date. But the liver pill circular mentioned many symptoms, the main being a general declination to work of any kind. I have suffered right from childhood, and illnesses never deserted me for a day. They were unaware that it was my liver then, as medical science was not so advanced, so they accounted it through my general laziness. But instead of medicine, I was given clumps on sides of the head, and mysteriously they often healed me. Sometimes the old-fashioned stuff is more effective than the dispensary stuff after all. Thank you.